Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency. I'm Agatha May, and I am covering another Horry County, South Carolina case because Horry County is, well, it's Horry County. On May 19th, 2026, Cyrena Anderson's sister made a call no one wants to make about a loved one. She was reporting Cyrena as a missing person. She had last spoken to her on Tuesday, May 12th, and Cyrena didn't show up for work on May 14th, which was out of character for her. Police immediately questioned Cyrena's husband, Lynn Osborne, and he told investigators that Cyrena had packed up her belongings and left her Myrtle Beach home in the early morning of the 13th. So either that's the truth, which I don't think it is, or it was an extremely convenient date for Danny to use. The police searched Cyrena's neighborhood, but if they discovered any evidence about what happened to her, they haven't shared it with the public. However, they did announce that they'd discovered evidence that contradicts Danny Boy's account of the situation, but they didn't elaborate on those contradictions. And this is the Horry County PD investigating, so if they found evidence, it must have been pretty obvious. No offense, Horry County Police Department, but you kinda suck. And if you don't believe me, here are some of the scandals that have occurred with the department in the past couple of years. In late 2025, there was a big old sex scandal when an internal affairs investigation found out that 4 HCPD officers and the county's lead government spokesperson were involved in multiple intersecting sexual relationships. All 5 people implicated in the office orgy, or whatever they were doing, have resigned. One officer and the spokesperson later filed lawsuits alleging that the investigation was weaponized to cover up and retaliate against one of the officers for reporting sexual harassment by former Deputy County Administrator Randy Webster. In April of 2026, Captain Danny Furr filed a lawsuit against HCPD Chief Chris Leonhardt and other department leaders. Furr alleges he was wrongfully pushed into retirement as retaliation for whistleblowing on department leadership. That same month, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division charged former HCPD officer Aldrich Calloway with 2 counts of bribery by a public official and 2 counts of misconduct in office. And then between 2025 and 26, you have the fallout from the Scott Spivey investigation, which was not really an investigation. And all that mess is still ongoing. But back to Danny. On May 25th of this year, Danny Lynn was arrested in New Hanover County, North Carolina for failure to appear and is being held for Brunswick County on charges of failure to appear and 6 charges for violation of a domestic order of protection. Now, having 6 charges against you for violating an order of protection might seem like a lot, but to Danny, that's just a Tuesday. None of these charges have anything to do with Cyrena, so it's beginning to look like maybe Danny is just a big honkin' POS, and I don't mean point of service. On June 4th, investigators named Danny as a person of interest in Cyrena's disappearance. So let's take a gander at some of the other charges Danny's received during the last 30 years or so. Now, normally I won't talk about someone's older charges unless that person is still up to no good, and Danny definitely fits that bill. So here goes. In 1994, he was charged with spotlighting a deer in Brunswick County. Now, this is a recurring theme in Danny's record, so for those of you who don't know, spotlighting a deer is when people who are too lazy or just really bad hunters go out at night with a big old bright light and drive around looking for deer. When they find one, they shine the light on the deer, causing it to freeze, and the hunter then shoots the deer. So, not very sporting and not at all legal. Danny was also charged with a probation violation, which meant he had been in trouble as a minor and was on probation for it. In April of 1995, Danny was charged in Brunswick County with assault inflicting serious injury and then received another charge of the exact same thing in May of 1995, which was listed as a felony assault on handicapped. That same month, he was also charged in New Hanover County, North Carolina, with going armed to the terror of the people, which occurs when an individual arms themselves with unusual and dangerous weapons in public, causing alarm, fear, or terror to the surrounding public. I couldn't find a record of what Danny had been armed with. In January of 1997, Danny was charged in Brunswick County for larceny, breaking and entering, and possession of stolen property. The next month, he was charged with larceny of a firearm in the same county. And wanting February of 1997 to be one of his bigger months, He was also charged with larceny and breaking and entering in Brunswick County. But he wasn't finished with catching charges in February and received another one for obtaining property by false pretense in Brunswick County. In April of 1997, he was charged in Brunswick County again with larceny, breaking and entering, and possession of stolen property. In December of 1997, he was charged with possession of stolen property and then charged with spotlighting deer again. In 1998, Danny Lynn was put on probation and received a suspended sentence for the larceny, breaking and entering, and possession, with an assault charge that ran concurrently. Then he had his probation revoked and spent about 6 months in prison. I think maybe he should have had a longer sentence. In 1999, he was arrested for hunting or fishing on posted property. In 2000, he was charged with acquiring a hunting license while under court order. In 2002, charged with fishing without a license. In 2004, he was charged with trespassing and communicating threats in Brunswick County. In 2006, he was charged with a simple assault by pointing a gun at someone, and communicating threats. In January of 2010, he was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. In July of that year, he was charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle. So this could be something like joyriding, but in Danny's case, it was a domestic situation, which makes me think he'd taken a vehicle that wasn't in his name, and his wife, and more than likely soon-to-be ex-wife, was not happy about it. In 2011 in New Hanover County, Danny got his first, but most certainly not the last charge for violating a domestic order of protection. In 2014, he was charged with assault on a female in Pender County. In May of 2017, he was charged with communicating threats in Pender County. And also that same month, he was charged with injury to personal property, and his bond was forfeited because he failed to appear. In 2018, he had another bond forfeiture on another order of protection violation in New Hanover County, and a bond forfeiture in Pender County, and these are all for failure to appear. In March and April of 2025, he had a violation of a domestic order of protection for each month in Brunswick County, along with yet another bond forfeiture for failure to appear. And in 2025, in May, he received 4 violations of a domestic order of protection in Brunswick County. So the 2018 and the 2025 charges are why he is in jail right now. And it seems like the North Carolina authorities finally got their heads out of their collective buttholes and got the message that Danny was going to keep not appearing for his case, because his bond total now is sitting at $245,000, which Danny doesn't have. And the house that he and Cyrena lived in is in her name because she owned it before they were married. So he can't use that for any kind of collateral. So have fun in jail, you worthless blob of boo. Police are asking that if anyone saw Danny's truck on the days between May 13th and 16th to give them a call. His truck is a red Ford F-150 4x4 extended cab with silver lower trim and bumpers, a black bed cover, silver running boards, and window rain guards. There's a magnet on his tailgate in blue and yellow that reads, "The handyman can," with his phone number. So I guess all the handyman can do now is sit his happy hiney in jail. Danny would have possibly been in the Horry County area of US 17 South or South Carolina Highway 31 and US 17 into North Carolina. In North Carolina, he would have been in Brunswick County, including transit areas near Oak Island and Southport, and in New Hanover County, including areas extending toward Wilmington and Leland. He could have also been seen in the Highway 211 communities, specifically the Supply and Bolton areas. And investigators might have narrowed down their search because they've recently asked Brunswick County residents to check their cameras for footage to see if they can see Danny's truck in the area of Green Swamp Road, Green Swamp Preserve, Highway 214, Highway 211, Delco, Bolton, or Supply areas on May 14th and 15th. As of the making of this episode, there have been no further updates that have been made public in Cyrena's case. But neighbors and citizens of Myrtle Beach have been talking, and according to one woman, an older man showed up in her neighborhood not long after Cyrena disappeared and asked if they had seen a woman that fit her description. The man said he was Cyrena's father. Well, the problem is that Cyrena's father is no longer living. So who was the man trying to pretend to be her father? Was it someone who actually cares about her, or was it someone who was up to no good? There was also some bozo on Facebook who kept telling people that he knew where Cyrena was. But whoever it is hiding behind a fake profile. They had created that profile the day after Cyrena went missing. So I think it's just someone wanting to stir up drama, and they picked a really crappy way to do it. A friend of Cyrena stated that since Cyrena and Danny got married in September of 2025, things haven't been right. Danny would allegedly get mad and then burn Cyrena's clothing, and he tried to isolate her from friends and family and seemed to want to control her movements. I'm not saying that Danny definitely had something to do with Cyrena's disappearance, but I'm also not saying he didn't either. And given his background, it seems obvious that he should be the first and so far the only suspect. There have been those who said that perhaps Cyrena just left on her own, but I think she would have let her family and friends know that she was somewhere safe so they wouldn't worry about her. Danny has a court appearance on June 29th, and I'll keep you updated on Cyrena's case as events and information unfold. If you have any information about her disappearance, please contact the Horry County Police Department at 843-915-8477. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, comment, and share so more people can learn about Cyrena's case. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and don't let the turkeys get you down.